I'm the chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission. Starting calling the meeting to order at 4:02. We go around the room and say who's here. Don?
Dawn DeSorcy, staff.
Shane Blazer, Mayor.
Tom Eklund, Commission member.
Sue Schill, city attorney.
Craig Broren, Commission member.
Chris Bartek, commission member.
Patrick Gatterman, Commission member.
Carrie Edmondson, Associate Planner.
And then we have Jake Klingforth and Carolyn Martin are appearing via Zoom. Call the meeting to order. Get a little change in the agenda order, but first we will approve the 11-12 meeting minutes, or discuss the 11-12 meeting. Did I say 11-12? 4-11. I don't know where I got that. 4-11 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes from April 11th, 2022. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Passed. Okay. So we'll move to item 8 on the agenda, which is now item 3, and that's the election of officers. Shane?
I'll nominate you, Dean, for president.
I'll second.
Any other further nominations? Calling for more nominations? Okay. Okay, the nomination and a second. Do we just go with the unanimous consent since there are no other nominations? So I need a motion for unanimous consent then.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so move to nominate myself as continue to be chair. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Okay, we'll continue on with the meeting then. Thank you.
Do we need a vice chair?
Do we need the vice chair yet?
Oh, yeah, we need to, I'm sorry.
I'll move that Craig continue as vice chair.
Second.
I'll make a motion for unanimous consent. Well, I'm sorry, if you want to call for any other motion.
Any other nominations? Do I have a motion for unanimous consent? Do I have a second?
I made a motion for unanimous.
A second.
Second. Unanimous consent for Craig to remain vice chair. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Motion passed. Okay. So item 3 is the update on the creative placemaking strategic planning process kickoff meeting.
Thank you, Chair Veneman, members of the commission. I'm really excited to be here tonight to share with you about a creative placemaking project that has recently been kicked off in the city. And I want to thank Craig Broren, has been actively on that committee and had the very good suggestion of bringing this to the Parks Commission. So just to provide some kind of background information, you know, what exactly is this and why are we doing it? So the APA, the American Planning Association, describes creative placemaking as partners from public, private, nonprofit, and community sectors that strategically shape the physical and social character of a neighborhood, town, city, or region across arts and cultural activities. They talk about it animating public and private spaces and rejuvenating some of the structures and streetscapes in our city. And the hope is that this will foster entrepreneurs and cultural industries that help generate jobs, incomes, and, you know, continue to bring people to our areas. And just another quick definition, the National Endowment for the Arts talks about creative placemaking as integrating arts, culture, and design activities into efforts that strengthen communities. So that's some of what we're kind of thinking about when we're thinking about creative placemaking. And so why the Parks Commission, maybe some of you are wondering. So there was a lot of really good work done here prior to I started in November, and there was a lot of really good work in this area done with the University Year Project, which was a team out of UW-Madison, a student group, that worked with the city on a few different initiatives. I think arts was one, culture, if I remember right, and then I think there was also a marketing arm or something similar to, or branding or something along those lines. So within the arts arena, some of their recommendations were to increase collaboration and buy-in, establish best operational practices, and then some of the conditions around that were to create a strategic and after developing this plan, develop arts policies that recognize all community voices. And one of the themes kind of throughout a lot of their work that they felt like was important was partnering and collaborating with Parks Department, because there are a lot of opportunities within parks and within our parks and recreation facilities to form some of this public art and kind of these creative projects. And they thought parks was kind of a natural partner around this. So we've met twice, our group has met twice, and in the first meeting, these are some of the questions that were just designed to start to think about what we wanted to look at with the strategic plan document, which we're kicking off now. So we asked the group, what does public art in Wisconsin Rapids look like in 10 years? And just a few of the quick, I mean, I won't go into all the details, but I just kind of want to give you a sense of what the stakeholder group thought in these areas. And the stakeholder group is comprised of representatives from different groups in the community that kind of represent arts and culture entities. So we have a pretty broad-ranging group that's been at both meetings, which I'm really glad for. So in 10 years, they thought more sculptures and murals, more diversity in downtown. They thought more sculptures could be incorporated into parks, and that we could activate both public and private spaces were some of the thoughts. What's working well now? They thought the makerspace at the library was a positive recent development. They thought the zoo, there had been some prior work and planning with a sculpture park, and I know that came to this committee a couple times. And then they also thought that university work was a real positive. What spaces we want to activate? Library, zoo, aquatic center, and downtown were some of the areas that kind of bubbled to the top, but even as we go through our strategic planning document, we really want to view it as a fluid document that can kind of evolve and change over time and won't be something just kind of fixed and static. What isn't happening but would need to happen? Some kind of annual program incorporating different people into the arts planning, and then maintenance and policy guidelines so people kind of understand the framework for public art. And then lastly, who else should be at the table? There were a lot of people that people felt could be at the table that are not. Members of the Hmong community, members of the Ho-Chunk community, members of the Hispanic community, and then also members who are aware and know about the historical industries that have helped to shape the city were some of the other people that stakeholders felt should be at the table. So in looking at next steps, we are continuing to expand this stakeholder group. We're also looking at a public meeting, a larger public meeting that would probably be held at the end of summer. And Create Portage County has offered to facilitate this meeting, and they do have a lot of experience with this type of work and have done a lot of this type of work. We are undergoing the development of a strategic plan now. We've just recently began that. And so this stakeholder group will be meeting to oversee development of that plan. And then the hope is that once that's complete, maybe an offshoot or a few of the people that are excited and willing in that stakeholder group to kind of, take the reins with that strategic plan is kind of how we would hope that it would play out within the community. So that I just wanted to give you a kind of overview, and if anyone has any questions or would like more information, feel free to ask away.
Any questions? Pretty exciting. Awesome.
One thing I forgot, this is an important thing. We do have some interesting things happening right now. There's a Roundabout Project, the Jackson Street Roundabout. There is an RFP out right now, And the chamber has a landing page for that. So if anyone knows of any artists or anyone that would like more information, we do have that. And I do have an upcoming meeting with a representative from, I think it's Wood County Health and Human Services, we're in really early stages, but they're working with Rise Up out of Wausau, and they have a youth justice project in the works that they would like to do here. And I think the way their projects work, and I will get more information, but I believe they have like murals where everybody gets kind of a square, or everyone is assigned kind of a little portion of it, and that would be youth that are in the youth justice system right now, and I think that's a really exciting thing as well. I just wanted to mention that.
Awesome. Thanks, great report. Appreciate it. Moving down to item 4, consider approval of Wisconsin Rapids Aquatic Center special events. Dawn?
So we kept a couple of them that we did last year, the Season Pass Customer Appreciation Day, and then the first one is going to be on June 14th, United We Can Food Collection Day. They have that sculpture event on June 16th, and we're hoping to get a team together from probably the Aquatic Center staff to build a sculpture, and then all that food gets donated to local food pantries. July 25th will be Christmas in July. There'll be Christmas music playing at the Aquatic Center. And then we don't have the date set yet for Gone to the Dogs, but we hope to repeat that one again this year. A lot of people participated and had a lot of fun at that event. Oh, and that was a fundraiser for the Humane Society.
Okay.
Supplies as well as monetary donations.
Any further discussion? Motion to approve the special events?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion on the floor and a second to approve the special events at the Aquatic Center. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Ayes have it. Going on to item 5, I believe Sue's passing around the ordinance proposed at the... No problem. Want to go over that, Sue, then? How we're gonna, how this is set.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay. So our ad hoc committee met several times and went over the ordinance changes to the Park and Rec Commission. And these are the track changes that you see here that are suggested. And so maybe, Sue, do you want to kind of walk through a few of those, or?
Sure. So obviously in black is the current ordinance, so the suggested changes are in red. The strike-throughs are obviously language that's proposed to be stricken, and then the red underline is a language that is proposed to be added. So actually 2 on the first page, 17A-B, it's been suggested, and I think our standing committees and our our standing committees will go this route. Instead of having a chairperson and a secretary for membership or for committees, that there's a chairperson and a vice chair. So that was just a suggestion for this, which I think you just did, right? You did appoint a vice chairperson.
Yes.
And the next, powers and duties, I guess this is the main part of the ordinance. There's been some confusion, ambiguity regarding what the commission has complete control over, what might be advisory to the council. So what we tried to do is to basically divide tasks and responsibilities into ones that the commission has the final authority over and the council has no authority over. And then items that the commission, the Park and Recs Commission works as an advisory body to the Common Council. So C1 basically it's just a general statement, except as limited. Herein, the commission shall have the general management control over all public parks, pools, aquatic facilities, athletic fields, the zoo, and then also such other areas as the Common Council shall be determined shall be, within your jurisdiction. So that's what 1 basically says. 2, the old ordinance, or the present ordinance, I should say, spoke about using city employees and so on. The commission never was really an independent body that was actually, an entity that would use city employees. It was just a department of the city, or Parks Department. So we took that out to basically, and then later on in the next paragraph, you'll see where we took out about the hiring and salaries and so on. But commission shall make all rules and regulations for the government and control of all places of recreation. Next page. Not involved in hiring or supervising. That's a function of the department head and under the direction of the mayor. But the commission would have a person on the interview committee for the parks and building supervisor position. The remaining language, as I said, regarding hiring and salaries and seasonal help and so on, that's all handled through the HR department, and it's been proposed that that's how that should remain. 4 basically lists the sole decision-making and filing authority items. Any monetary gift to the city in any amount, and then any personal property valued, actually just should say valued under $5,000. I just noticed that. And then personal property for park purposes over $5,000 would need to go to the city. And I'm sure, right, exceeding, yeah, that should say under 5,000. All city park and recreation programming, so you would be in complete control of anything, any facet of programming, what the fees are, when your parks are open and closed, when they, and all admission fees for all parks and parks facilities. Any policy or regulation regarding any of those parks, any of those athletic fields, any of the playgrounds. However, if it's something that actually requires an ordinance change, then that should be referred to the legislative committee, which is the standing committee of the council, and that would then go to common council for approval, because it was our belief that only the council should be changing ordinances. The Park and Rec Commission would be in charge of strategic planning for all parks and rec facilities, and then also could approve any non-construction contracts, professional service contracts, and maintenance or service contracts for park facilities and park buildings, provided that they've been budgeted. And then 5 lists some of the duties that would come to the commission, but the commission would be only advisory or recommending action to the Finance and Property Committee, and then ultimately to the Common Council. So that would be any real estate that would be gifted, personal property exceeding $5,000 in value, and these would all be for park purposes. And then it basically just says the commission can recommend, and the council then may accept those gifts. Anytime there's purchasing or leasing of lands for park purposes, that can be advisory to the council. Leases and licenses for the use of all athletic fields and other public park spaces, those would first come to Park and Rec, and then would go to Finance and Property and the council. Creation of any new park facilities or park areas. Any duty or responsibility that is within the jurisdiction of the Plan Commission. There are certain, and this mimics state law regarding what plan commissions do. There is language regarding memorials and certain public spaces that the plan commission actually has jurisdiction over, and that's contained in Chapter 11. And then any contracts for the repair, construction, remodeling, improvement of any facility would have to, could be recommended, approved, and then go to the common council after going to the commission. And obviously, and as I stated, except for what was in 4E for those smaller contracts or professional contracts that had been budgeted and approved by the council. Finance Property Committee, they presently handle all special events, so that would continue even if it does occur in a park. They will continue to have jurisdiction over that and 4th of July fireworks. The budget that this, in finances and budget, this was updated to about how the expenditures and were not approved as they were originally, or as they are in the present ordinance. And so that was taken out. The budget at the time outlined by the Finance and Property Committee, but no later than October 1 each year. It did say October 1, but I think the intent of the council is to try to speed up that process or get it started a little earlier. So it could be that with the timing that might be requested to be done prior to October 1. So you submit the budget just like you have in previous years. You can't exceed anything that's budgeted unless you go back to the council and request funds. And then we talked about having a certain amount of money that, because basically, so everything that's in your budget, like you want to make this improvement, you want to do this, as long as you're budgeting in it and line iteming it in your budget, then it's approved. But let's say there's something that you don't know, or something that comes up during the year that you don't have budgeted, there would be the ability to have this $25,000 item that's hasn't been approved by the council. Well, I should say the line item will be approved as an undesignated project or improvement, so that can be done without having to go back to the council. And that can be from your park and rec outlay. As a matter of course, though, if during your budgeting process you want to spend money out of your outlay, then you know, as long as it's budgeted, that's perfectly fine. This would just be for something that was not anticipated in the budget cycle. And same way with what room tax, which basically is, I think where what we call the outlay. You can expend room tax revenue for parks purposes, provided it's in the budget, or you've listed it in the budget. I took out all the stuff about the zoo because it wasn't necessary to delineate where the zoo was, and some of this is duplicative, and it said something about animals not native had to go to the common council, which we're suggesting not need to be done, that could just go through the Park and Rec Commission. So Jay, Tom, the mayor, Chris, and Tom Ekelin were the ad hoc committee members, put in a lot of time on this, so I want to thank them and putting up with me and having patience in making changes to this. So I guess I would say if anybody has any questions of them or me specifically on the drafting.
Well, I personally think it's a good thing. I'm not a big fan of the council overseeing every single aspect of this commission by any stretch. I'm more in favor of an independent commission, and I think it was a good work and appreciate it, Chris and Tom. I think it's a good thing.
So should we approve here and recommend it goes on to the council?
Yep.
I'll so move.
Yeah, just make that one correction on 4A for the under instead of over.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second to approve this and send it to the council with the 2 changes in verbiage. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Ayes have it. Thank you. And next item is consider changing the opening date for the zoo. Jake, are you on for that?
Yeah, I can talk about that. Last week, Tuesday, Fantasy Corral reached out to us saying the week that they typically drop off the animals, they're not going to be able to do that, so they're wondering if they could drop them off the weekend of the 21st. So we kind of looked at this as, well, maybe we can take the opportunity and open the zoo a week early. This way, maybe we can get the word out and schools can set up, tours of the zoo, field trips to the zoo. We already have staff lined up to work the zoo that week. So basically, we're just looking to open 4 days earlier than what we have in the previous years.
Jake, so are you saying then that the zoo would be officially open like on May 23rd or May 22nd, or what date?
May 24th. We'll still be closed on our normal Mondays, so Tuesday, May 24th.
Okay, thank you.
They'll give us a day to clean up after them over the weekend.
So is there a way to make a motion that we don't have to address this every year just because of the date? I mean, is there some language that just says,
There actually already is. We've always done Memorial Day through Labor Day. That was approved as a formal, just a regular opening. This is just early because of the animal provider.
yeah, I'm just,
But if you want to suggest a change to that, we can.
I'd like to, I just don't know how to say it. Is it sort of when the animals are ready? I mean, I don't know.
When the animals drop in, that's when we're open.
I mean, it's fine if you want to do this way every year, but
You could basically say to, normally would be Memorial to Labor Day, but you would, delegate to Jake to decide the opening and closing. Is that what you're basically saying, to leave it up to him?
why not?
So I think that's how you could word your motion, is to say that for this year it starts May 24th, and for future years, if it's going to be, different than Memorial Day and Labor Day, that Jake has the authority to open or close.
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the early start this year, and then here forward, if we open earlier, that'd be up to staff. All in favor? Or do I need a second?
I'll second.
So motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Ayes have it. Consider update and expansion of the Fox exhibit.
So yeah, we still have about $14,000 left of the corn feed money after the expenses that we did to the kangaroo pen. And I think Dawn sent or printed out some pictures of what we wanted to do for the fox pen. When we took a tour last fall at the Marshfield Zoo, their fox pen has kind of a more natural setting, tall grass and trees, just kind of put them in their comfort level. So we thought maybe we could do the same thing Obviously, something like this isn't going to be free, so we were going to see if it would be all right with you guys if we could use some more of the corn feed money to extend that fox pen. Chris and Tom were at the zoo last week we met Freighter there to give us ideas for the testing money, and I kind of showed Chris and Tom the outlay of the fox pen and just an idea of what we wanted to do with that. So we had American Fence come in to give us a price estimate on adding, I believe it was 14 feet. That 14 feet was 10 feet high. And then again, we'd have that 4-foot fence barrier so kids can't get close to that 10-foot high fence. We can save some money by doing a lot of the work ourselves, especially the truss that American Fence was going to do. So roughly, we're probably looking at spending about $9,000 on doing the expansion of the fox pen.
So that 9, you said 14, so that'd be 9 of the 14. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct, Dean. Yes.
Any further discussion?
Is it, excuse me, is it an expansion and a renovation? So are you changing like what?
It's more of a expansion because the fox can still get into its the pen that we have for right now. So if it's raining or cold, he can still go into his the pen that's still up right now. So the expansion is going to connect to that existing pen right now. It just kind of gives him the outdoor natural feeling like I spoke before.
Oh, gotcha. So more places for him to go, and then that'll just be natural with grasses and maybe a tree or two, something like that.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
And then talking with Fantasy Corral, if we did something like this, it's a very good chance that we could possibly add another fox. And so next year we could have 2 possibly.
Entertain a motion to approve that and for further discussion?
I'll make the motion. We use that money to, as Jake proposed, to expand the fox pen.
Motion
A
by-
second.
Motion by Patrick and second by Chris. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? The ayes have it. We already did the election of the officers. Out of the bills,
I went through the bills. I'll make a motion to approve.
motion to approve the bills. We have a second. Did I hear a second?
I'll second it.
If anyone has any questions, I have them here also.
Any questions or further discussion? Okay, a motion and a second to approve the bills. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Ayes have it. Staff reports then? Don, you first? Jake? Who's first?
Don?
I guess I can give a quick update on what we've been doing since Mary retired. We're trying to get things in order for summer programming. I just sent the flyer out to the printer today. Those are going to be here tomorrow. Let's see. For the summer, we're going to be offering babysitting classes, basketball, gymnastics, golf for adults and for kids, several art classes for adults and kids. A lot of the regular items at this point, Mary had a lot of these planned already. The thing that Jake had wanted to add, and we did add for the summer, is a disc golf league that'll have Sunday mornings. They'll have a competition each Sunday morning for their leagues with prizes, and that's going to be run by, who is that, Jake, that's running that? I can't remember. It's a group that came to the commission last year to build the extra courses. That was who's going to be running that. We're just wrapping up the spring programming. We had, let's see, gymnastics, a bunch of art classes, some jewelry making, a really popular class that is coming up. We had to change the date because of an instructor illness, is the beginning and advanced cricket classes for people to learn how to use their crickets. We've also got the summer aquatic center classes. There's going to be several water exercise classes, swim lessons, senior water exercise, lap swimming, and then aqua zumba, which was really popular last summer. And our office looks very, very nice over at the Lowell Center. The storage area does not look so nice, but up front it looks pretty good right now. So we're trying to get used to the new location and have people find us. A couple people have found us already, so that's good.
A question, is there any organized pickleball, like learn to play pickleball, or is that all just, are the people setting that up themselves, or is the city involved in the pickleball?
There are actually, I didn't even mention that one. There's a tournament, there's drop-in play, Monday mornings, Thursday mornings, and then also Wednesday evenings, starting in June. And then there's going to be like some trial days, so you can learn how to play pickleball as well. And then I believe there's a children's pickleball as well, so they can also learn to play.
Okay, nice.
Nice.
A lot of people asking about that.
Jake, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. I'll just talk real shortly about what the field staff has been up to in the month of April. We did, again, continuous building maintenance up at the city-owned buildings, continuous tree right-of-way pruning. We worked with the Wood County Emergency Management Unit again this year. They spent 4 days cleaning up litter and garbage along all the expressways. Again, for us this spring, which is a huge help, putting those guys and gals out there to do that type of work for us saves us time to do other things. Like Don mentioned before, we moved Parks and Rec over to the Low Center. That took a while to kind of go through everything that's been in office buildings for 30 years. We got a really good jump start on the spring cleanup in all the parks and the zoo. Last year, early April, mid-April, we were actually cutting grass last year. So this year, with it being cooler, we got to spend a little more time and be a little more diligent in our spring cleanup. We finished up the kangaroo pen. So again, we're just waiting for the animals to arrive. Started cleaning up the aquatic center, got canopies out. Assumption reached out to us, and they sent over last week 36 kids, which was a tremendous help. They helped us put all the mulch down at the aquatic center. They took out weeds as they were going. They put out 30 yards of mulch, so it was a huge help. They took out all the lawn, the chairs for us at the aquatic center. They started cleaning out the pools for us. Last week we also did our goose oiling. We got 43 eggs this year, a little bit down from last year, and about 9 nests we found. Again, just a reminder that all the bathrooms are open in the parks now as of last week, Friday, so we're ready to go for the summer. And that's all I had.
Thank you. Any questions for Jake or Dawn?
What was the opening day for the aquatic center?
June 7th.
7th?
Big training
June
on June
7th.
6th.
Okay.
That being said, Moves on to the final item, which is to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
Can I just
Oh,
make
sorry.
just for future meetings, for the agenda? We talked a meeting or so ago, about the, strategic planning priorities. We talked about the safety and then prioritize the different parks, so I just don't want to lose that. We should have some discussion about that. And even before that, when we were talking about the rates for the Aquatic Center, I think we said that we should be trying to make enough money to cover future replacement cost, I'll say. Whatever that is, so I don't want to lose that thought either. Because I don't know what they are. Are they $1 million 10 years down the road, or what are they? So I think we just need to sort of circle the wagons on that one. And then at some point, I know we have all this room tax fund that's built over the years, and I have a few ideas for budget on how to use some of that, particularly from those places that bring in folks that contribute to that room tax. The sticky part is it may not all be sole city use if you were to use it. It's sort of hard to segregate if it's just for a city fund, because you might have Grand Rapids people use it, that type of thing. But anyway, I think we should start talking about a few of those potential opportunities.
And I think the other thing we should admit, bring up tonight too, is and Dawn and I did talk, we are going to look a little bit into trying to determine some geographic, trying to do a better job on tracking non-resident and resident at the Aquatic Center this year. So I'm going to be working with Dawn to try to pull up some ideas between now and opening time.
So just one question about that too. I know one older person had a lot of questions about the rate. And I'm just assuming, I don't know this, but I think that discussion started when people saw on their property tax bill this assessment. And I don't think this commission can do anything about that. So I just want to make sure do they understand that? I mean, we could raise that rate all we want, but it's not going to change one thing on the property tax.
Correct.
So just kind of clarification, I think.
Yeah, I think it's about trying to find that sweet spot, because if you raise it up enough, people are going to choose to do something else or go somewhere else. So I don't know what that sweet spot is, though.
Well, I think identifying municipalities that use the Aquatic Center has other benefits too, more so than just what we're talking about in terms of, fees to come in. And I think it was made fairly clear that City of Wisconsin Rapids residents have some extra perks. But yeah, I'm not debating that's not going to change on the tax bill circumstance. But I think the argument was, should there be deference to City of Wisconsin Rapids residents for having to shoulder the tax burden of having the Aquatic Center here in terms of using it as well? And I don't know that you can answer that question until you know who's using it. I mean, I'm assuming it's primarily city residents, but I don't know that we know that for sure until you start to collect that data. And then you'd be able to identify, in my opinion, does doing a differentiated approach in terms of daily attendance or whatever you're paying, does it make any sense? Is it going to change anything? You know what I mean? So to me, and then you can also determine who specifically is using the Aquatic Center and why that may be, and then potentially direct marketing to other municipalities or right here in the city to try to drive more people to go use it. So if it's not a massive undertaking and a significant problem, I think there would be valuable data to know over the course of a few years, as long as it's not like such a burden that, we got a line of people standing out there for 3 hours missing out on time in the park. So.
I agree. And And again, we just need to find ways to just advertise the heck out of that pass and so people understand the benefit of it.
I
That
can
work?
tell you that we've had a lot of scheduled parties already since that was discussed at the last meeting. So that's definitely taking off. I'm sure the warm weather is helping that as well. People are thinking about summer, but there are people scheduling events at the Aquatic Center now. Quite a few of them also.
Chris?
Just wanted to comment on, Tom and I were at the zoo this week, and the kangaroo area looks very nice. And so they did a really nice job on that. And look forward to seeing what the fox expansion looks like too. 'Cause they've done
Great.
some good work over there. So,
Awesome.
and I wondered if for the next meeting agenda, if we could get an update on the zoo fund, and then I guess what's left in the budget and plans for updates.
Are you referring to the Teskey money or
Yes.
just the
Yep.
budget in general? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Both of them?
Yeah.
The budget and the, and I think I volunteered to lead the subcommittee on the Teskey Fund, so I'll get with Jake on that.
Any other further discussion? I'll drive a motion to adjourn then.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you, everybody.